Imagine a 15-year-old girl, expelled from school and written off by her community as a bad influence. Fast forward a few decades, and that same girl is dictating the rules of global literature. We're talking about an author who moved over 500 million copies of her books across 40 different countries. Her name is Jackie Collins. To understand how she pulled that off, look at the world she was born into. This is mid-20th century London. The cultural script for young women was rigid. Be polite, conform, and stay quiet. Jackie naturally rejected every single one of those expectations. She crossed boundaries constantly, making her a problem student for teachers and an outcast in traditional circles. Looking back, she didn't fail to integrate into society. The polite rules of that era simply couldn't contain what she was preparing to do. Her first major move was leaving London entirely. She packed her bags for Los Angeles, determined to break into acting. She landed a few minor roles, but the massive fame she envisioned on screen never materialized. Her acting career stalled. Yet, standing on the periphery of the studio system, she noticed a massive disconnect. There was the pristine, glamorous image Hollywood sold to the public, and then there was the gritty reality. Behind the closed doors of places like the Beverly Hills Hotel, she observed ruthless power games, hidden affairs, and the dark underbelly of fame. She realized the world already had plenty of aspiring actresses reading lines. What it actually needed was an outsider willing to write down the exact stories the elite were trying to hide. In 1968, she published her first novel, The World is Full of Married Men. She completely abandoned polite fiction, choosing instead to document the raw, uncomfortable truths she had witnessed. The establishment's reaction was swift and furious. Critics attacked the book, labeling it vulgar, and the pushback grew so intense that the novel was officially banned in the UK. But that censorship triggered a predictable sociological reaction. This chart illustrates a phenomenon known as the Streisand effect. When an authority attempts to suppress or hide information, public curiosity naturally spikes, causing that exact information to spread exponentially. Because the UK government declared her work off limits, they inadvertently handed her a massive marketing campaign. The moral panic provided the economic fuel that propelled the book to international success. The attempt to silence her backfired completely. It proved that the reality she documented was exactly what readers secretly wanted. She capitalized on the momentum instantly, dominating bookstore shelves with her rapid succession of hits like Hollywood Wives and Lady Boss. Through these novels, she introduced an entirely new archetype to popular fiction. Her female characters weren't passive victims waiting to be saved. They were ambitious, dangerous, and in total control of their own lives. Her writing career became a very public, very lucrative form of psychological revenge against the teachers, critics, and high society gatekeepers who had previously dismissed her. When confronted by critics who accused her of peddling cheap scandals, her defense was entirely unapologetic. She dismissed them, stating plainly that she was writing reality, and it was their problem if they couldn't handle it. By placing these characters at the center of global bestseller lists for decades, she moved the image of the powerful, unapologetic woman from a banned scandal to a staple of mainstream entertainment. By 2015, she was universally recognized as a global icon of literature and Hollywood glamour. Then, she received a severe diagnosis: breast cancer. Celebrity culture often demands that public figures share their personal tragedies, turning their illnesses into a spectacle for public consumption. Jackie rejected this final societal expectation. She kept her medical battle entirely private, continuing to give smiling interviews and maintaining her glamorous public persona right up until she passed away in September 2015. By refusing to let the disease dictate how the world saw her, she retained absolute control over her own narrative until her final breath. 50 years of work left the world with a massive literary empire and a specific philosophy for anyone who feels incompatible with the system. Her life proves that you don't need a perfect academic record or the establishment's approval to succeed. She operated on a very specific philosophy. Apni life ke rules khud likho. Write the rules of your own life. The next time you find yourself staring down a system that insists you don't fit, or a critic who tells you that you cannot succeed, remember the 15-year-old schoolgirl who was expelled for being a problem. She took the very traits that society penalized her for and used them to conquer the world. Because true power belongs exclusively to those brave enough to write their own story. fearlessly and unapologetically.